Do you ever feel like anxiety controls your life? Hey there, and welcome to Learn English with Deja. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that tightness in your chest, the racing thoughts, the worry that just doesn't stop, even when there's nothing seriously wrong? That, my friend, is anxiety, and if you felt it, you're not alone. In fact, anxiety is one of the most common struggles people face around the world, especially today, in our busy and stressful lives. And here's the thing. If English isn't your first language, anxiety can feel even worse. Trying to speak, listen, and understand when your brain is full of fear, that's a real challenge. That's why today's episode is so important. What will you learn from this episode? In this episode, you're going to learn something powerful. Not just English, but a new way of thinking. We're going to talk about a simple mind trick. Yes, just one. That can honestly change the way you feel about anxiety. You'll learn how to understand your anxious thoughts better, how to calm your mind when it's racing, and how to use English to describe what you're feeling, which is a big step in taking back control. You'll hear natural, everyday English expressions, all explained clearly in context. And by the end of this episode, you'll feel more confident, more calm, and more capable in both English and in life. Why do we feel anxious in the first place? Let's start with this. Why does anxiety even exist? What's the purpose? Believe it or not, anxiety is not a bad thing. It's part of your body's natural defense system, your brain trying to protect you. A little anxiety keeps you alert. It keeps you safe. But when anxiety becomes constant, when it never turns off, that's when it becomes a problem. And modern life doesn't help. We worry about money, relationships, work, the future. And often, we're just sitting there thinking, not running from danger, not fighting, just thinking. And that's where anxiety lives, in our thoughts. Can we think our way out of anxiety? This is a tricky question. You might think, if anxiety is just in my thoughts, can't I just think better thoughts and feel better? Well, yes and no. Positive thinking helps, sure. But when you're deep in anxiety, it's hard to even believe your own positive thoughts. That's why the trick we'll talk about today is not about forcing positive thoughts. It's about shifting your relationship with the thoughts themselves, not fighting them, but seeing them differently. And once you do that, the anxiety loses its power. What is the mind trick that can help with anxiety? Here it is, the mind trick. And it's actually very simple. Are you ready? The trick is this. Notice the thought, name it, and don't become it. That's it. Let me explain. When a thought comes, like, I'm not good enough, or I can't handle this, instead of believing it right away, you just notice it. You say to yourself, oh, I'm having the thought that I'm not good enough. That small change, adding the words, I'm having the thought that, can create space. It separates you from the thought. And that space is where peace lives. Why does this trick actually work? At first, it might sound too simple, but here's the science behind it. When you notice your thoughts without judgment, you activate a different part of your brain, the part responsible for awareness and calm. You stop being the thought, and you start becoming the observer of the thought. It's like watching a cloud pass by in the sky. You don't try to grab the cloud, you just watch it, and it moves on. Thoughts are like that. They come, they go, and you don't have to believe every single one. Can this help in the moment when anxiety hits? Yes. And that's the beauty of it. You can use this trick anytime, anywhere. You're standing in line and your heart starts racing. Notice the thought. I'm having the thought that something bad will happen. You're trying to speak English and you feel afraid. Say, I'm having the thought that I'll make a mistake. Just naming it, calmly and clearly, can give you back your power. You become the one who sees the storm, not the one trapped inside it. What's the danger of believing every anxious thought? Let's be real. Anxious thoughts feel real. That's the danger. Your brain says, this is a problem. Panic now. And your body follows. But here's the truth. Most of the time, the thought is just a habit. It's not a prediction. It's not a fact. And if you believe every anxious thought, you start to live in fear. You avoid things. You stop trying. You shrink your life. And you don't want that. You want to grow, to try, to live fully. That starts with not trusting every scary thought your brain throws at you. How does this relate to learning English? This is a big one. Anxiety and English learning are very connected. Think about it. When you're nervous, your brain works differently. You forget words. You freeze. You can't focus. So if you can manage your anxiety, even just a little bit, your English gets better naturally. You speak more clearly. You remember more. You listen better. So learning how to deal with your mind, that's one of the best English learning tools you'll ever find. Can you really change how you feel? Yes, but not by force, not by pushing your feelings away. You change how you feel by changing your relationship with the feelings. When you stop fighting them, when you start noticing them, naming them, and giving them space, they change on their own. It's like relaxing your grip on a rope. The tension goes away. The same goes for anxiety. You don't need to control it. You just need to stop feeding it. Why is self-talk so powerful? Let's talk about how you talk to yourself. That voice in your head. It matters. When you say, I'm such a failure, your brain listens. When you say, this is hard, but I'm learning, your brain listens too. That's why the way you describe your thoughts matters. Saying, I'm having the thought that is a form of kind, wise self-talk. It's not fake positivity. It's honesty, with space and compassion. That kind of language makes a huge difference, both in how you feel and in how you speak English. What if the thoughts are very strong? Sometimes the thoughts are loud, really loud, and it feels impossible to find space. That's okay. You don't have to silence them. You just sit with them gently. Imagine you're sitting next to a crying child. You don't yell at them to stop. You don't run away. You just sit and breathe and wait. You can do the same with your thoughts. Just say, this is hard. And I'm here. That's enough. How do emotions and language work together? Here's something interesting. The more words you have to describe your emotions, the easier it is to manage them. That's why learning English, or any language, can actually help with mental health. You get better at naming things. Instead of saying, I feel bad, you might say, I feel overwhelmed, or I feel unsure, or I feel nervous because I want to do well. That kind of clarity is powerful, and it starts with words. What's the difference between reacting and responding? Reacting is fast, automatic, like a reflex. Anxiety wants you to react, but responding is slower. It includes thought, choice, space. When you say, I'm having the thought that I can't do this, you create space to respond. Maybe you still feel afraid, but now you can decide what to do, instead of letting fear decide for you. Can you use this trick in conversations? Absolutely. You can use this mind trick when speaking English with others. Let's say someone says something that makes you feel insecure. Instead of shutting down, notice the thought. I'm having the thought that they think I sound stupid. Now, take a breath. Is that thought helpful? Probably not. Can you still respond kindly or ask a question or continue the conversation? Yes. And that's growth. What does it mean to separate yourself from your thoughts? This idea is at the heart of mindfulness and emotional strength. You are not your thoughts. You have thoughts, but you are something deeper. When you step back and watch the thought, without judging it or chasing it, you become more peaceful. It's like standing on the shore watching waves. The waves keep coming, but you're not drowning anymore. What happens when we practice this regularly? Over time, this practice becomes natural, like brushing your teeth. At first, it's a little strange. You have to remind yourself, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. Your brain changes. You become calmer, clearer, more confident, not just in English, but in life. You feel more in control because you understand what's going on inside you. Can this mind trick help with other emotions? Yes, it's not just for anxiety. It works with anger, sadness, jealousy, fear. The trick is the same. Notice the thought. Name it. Don't become it. It sounds simple, and it is. But it's also deep, and it works. Try it the next time you feel overwhelmed. Just create space. One sentence, one breath. That's enough to begin. What should you remember from this episode? If you take one thing from today, let it be this. Your thoughts are not the boss of you. They're just thoughts. You can listen to them, but you don't have to obey them. You can watch them and let them go. You can use kind, clear language to describe what you feel, and by doing that, you become stronger in your mind and in your English. What's the next step for you? Thanks for staying with me to the end of this episode. That shows you're serious about learning and about growing. So here's what I want you to do. Try this trick today, just once. Notice one anxious thought. Say to yourself, I'm having the thought that, and finish the sentence. Then take a breath. Smile. You're learning. You're improving. And I'm proud of you. Until next time, keep practicing, keep growing, and keep being kind to yourself.